Welcome to another Liquid Bullet Productions. Joining me today doesn't really need an introduction. He's known all over the martial arts world, Mr Ticky Donovan. Thanks for coming, Ticky.
Nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you again. I ain't seen you for a long time.
It's been a few years, mate, a few years.
Yeah.
I've just got a list of a few of your achievements here, Ticky. I'm just going to read them through quickly.
Okay.
So, British champion, 1973. British champion, 1974. British champion, 1975. As world team champion, 1975. 1976, bronze European. 1976, European Cup of Nice winner. 1976, European winning team event. Going on to your coaching, as the British and English team coach, consecutive world champion titles. Taipei, 1982. Holland, 84. Australia, 1986. Cairo, 1988. Mexico, 1990. He then went on to win the women's 92 women's team and 96. Ticky's amazing achievements there as a coach. Has anyone ever got to that level after you?
No, they haven't. But France came close, I think, one time. They won 4. But Leo is such a great squad. Great squad. Yeah. And, it just got better and better.
So Ticky, I'm just going to touch lightly as well. You've also got an OBE from the Queen.
Yeah. That was 1990.
Wow. So before we get into all the good stuff, all the details everyone wants to know, can we just roll you back right to the beginning, where you was born and where you was brought up?
I was born in East Ham, brought up in East Ham, went to Hartley School, then Central Park Senior School. I joined East Ham Boxing Club as a schoolboy and fought in a few schoolboy competitions, boxing. Then a lot of the guys, they moved on to the Black Lion Plasto because they had better coaches there, like Terry Spinks and Jackie Gubbins, and really good coaches. And Georgie Dorman was another one. And it was a really good club, and I loved it there. That was in the era of Jimmy Tibbs. Yeah, he was the main man at the club and got a really great guy.
What sort of age was that, Ticky, you was boxing?
16, 17 and 18. And then my friend who done judo, Johnny Nellis, bless his soul, he's rest in peace, he kept bringing me these judo magazines round. And at the back it had Tatsuo Suzuki doing karate. And he said, I really fancy doing this. Do you fancy coming with me? It's over Clapham Common. And I just said, yeah, come on, we'll do it. And we went over there and it was shut.
Oh, no.
They had a night off, yeah. And someone said, well, come back on the Wednesday. And so we went back on the Wednesday. I joined, done a class, found it really slow and boring compared with boxing.
Yeah.
Because it was like one step and punch, and then they put about 5 people, corrected 5 people, but the Japanese weren't there that night. And people said, look, come back Friday. They're doing a demonstration. And I saw them do a demonstration on the Friday, and I went, oh, that's it.
You liked it. Got you hooked.
For me, yeah, definitely. And to top it, after we trained the first time, everyone went in the pub next door. And we chatting to a green belt. And we was having a laugh, and I said, where'd you come from? He said, Forest Gate. I said, oh, we come from East Ham. I said, how'd you get here? You drive here? He went, no, I come by train. And I said, oh, well, we give you a lift home. And that was Peter Spanton. And, and that got, he said, come and do some training with me private at Durning, not charging us, just come and do some private training with me. and that was it. I was hooked. Loved it.
What style was that you first originally started to train in, Ticky?
That was Wado Ryu.
Wado Ryu.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you stay in that system for a long time, or?
Yeah. I stayed in there. I got up to my first dan, and then it changed over. There was big arguments with the Japanese, not with me, with the people running the club, and then it turned over to Shotokan. We had Mr Kanazawa come along, so I started doing Shotokan, and then John Smith, he brought Dominic Valera over. He said, "Come and train, with him." And I went and trained with him, and that changed my life completely. Yeah. He just, if I say it with respect to him, the Japanese were, the Wado Japs were very spiteful. And when you fought, you got hurt. You learned to block, but you got hurt, and they made you the same when you fought someone else.
Yeah.
But when I met Dominic, and you could fight him, and he could just play around. He didn't try to hurt you or anything like that, and he completely changed my attitude. Completely.
Yeah. Can I just touch a little bit on Dominic there? So just in case, I'm sure most of the viewers have heard of Dominic Valera, but just in case there's a few that haven't, can we just touch on who he is?
Oh, they call him the king in France. Dominic, he was just a man. He was before his time. He's still going strong now, and we just clicked. We clicked as a pair, and then he come and stayed with me, and we started doing courses together. And as I say, I learned so much from him, and he just changed my outlook on everything.
I remember coming to a couple of them courses when I was a little kid.
Yeah, they were big, weren't they?
Up in the leisure centre up in Barking there.
Yeah, we've done
the Abbey Sports Centre.
Yeah, we done one there, didn't we? Yeah. I think that was the last one we done, actually.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. He's on at me to do another one all the time, but
I think there's one more left in there.
Maybe, but I'd rather be remembered to how they was, how they went.
Yeah.
So he changed my life, and then I was fighting off for a place in the Europeans, and I broke. What did I do? I broke a knuckle. No, I didn't. I fractured a knuckle, and I couldn't go. So I had a couple of months off. I got a job working the doors, as we all done then, for a bit of extra money. And then I went and enjoyed Kyokushinkai at Stratford.
Yeah.
And
so that's known as the knockdown karate, isn't it? Kyokushinkai.
Well, that came after. When I joined, it wasn't knockdown. Right. Steve Arneill became the British manager. He was the manager when we won the World Championships in '75. And it didn't have the finesse of Wado Ryu and Shotokan, but the spirit was unbelievable in there. It was really great. And I met some great people in there, and it was all EastEnders, and they all liked fighting. So that was it. It was a great club.
What was the first sort of competitions you entered, Ticky? And what sort of grade did you first start to fight?
A green belt. I won the British Championships in 1966, but that was by junior. But it weren't junior by age then; it was junior by grade.
Oh, wow.
I was a green belt.
Yeah.
And it was Wado Ryu had a really good team. They were, it was really Shotokan were really big, but they didn't do much competition. But Wado Ryu did. So, yeah.
How did you find because obviously you'd already had your boxing fights then. How did you find the transition from boxing to then fighting in karate?
Well, firstly, it changed me completely because I used to be on the spot, jumping up and down and bouncing and lifting my shoulders up, and they used to bash me on the shoulders, stand still, get down lower in your stance. And so it changed me completely. But then when I started mixing with Dominic, he was doing the old style like I was used to with boxing. You know, we was moving around more. And so I just brought back some of the boxing moves into karate. So when we started fighting, a lot of people, I mean, let's face it, at the beginning, the Japanese taught us to fight the way they fought.
Yeah.
They could just pick us off because we was trying to fight like a Japanese, and we're not Japanese. But once we started developing, we didn't fight in a straight line and we bobbed and weaved and moved around. They couldn't get the grips with it. You know, they have now. They've changed completely. Just like in the football I've just been watching. But, you know, we just developed this different way of fighting. And I had some great students at that time. And they were winning. They were winning in England and Great Britain and getting picked to fight in Europe. So that was the base, I think, of other people following on.
When did you start actually teaching for yourself as well?
I taught a bit in Wado Ryu with Peter Spandam. We had a club, and then I was just training at Stratford. And Terry Morris, bless his soul, he said to me, "Oh, we're going to open a club at Dagenham, you and me." He was really that way. I went, "Well, I'm not really interested in the club." He went, "No, come on." He said, I've done the stickers. He'd printed them all out. He said, we're doing a show over Dagenham Town Show. And we've got to do a little demo, me and you. Anyway, he dragged me into it. I wasn't really interested. But the first night, we had over 20 beginners.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'll never forget a guy called George. He turned up in his pajamas. No one had karate suits then. And he went, I said, "What are you doing in pajamas?" Because most people had track gear. He said, "I tried to buy a karate suit. I couldn't buy one. So I thought this is the next best thing." But it was hard work because I'd been brought up with strict etiquette, you know, with the Japanese, you know. And I'm in the club at Dagenham. I used to be in the middle of teaching. I get a bloke open the door. "Oi, mate, how do I join this lot?" You know, you used to have to go until we got people that we didn't have to say anything. The students went, "Shh, no, you can't talk. You got to wait to be spoken to."
Yeah.
But and that developed in one of the best clubs. Well, in my view, it was the best club, as you know, in England.
So is that when you went over to when you opened your own style? Did you move?
No, we was Kyokushinkai for quite a while.
You still Kyokushinkai, yeah.
Yeah, and then what happened? I got disqualified in the British Championships in 71 or 72. It might have been 72. I got disqualified and banned for a year.
What did you do, Tiggy?
Well, it was funny. I was fighting this guy. I'll never forget. He was from Scotland. His name was Higgins. Not Billy Higgins, another Higgins. And something happened, and he punched. That's right. He punched me in the face. We didn't have no mitts then. It was all bare knuckles. And he knocked my tooth back. And I'm like that. And all of a sudden, the referee gave me a warning. So I thought, why have I got a warning? He just punched me. So I looked up, and this Higgins was standing there laughing at me. So I lost my cool. I've done a combination on him. And, I finished with a knee and an elbow in the back of his head, I think. Anyway, that was it. I got banned for a year. And when it was funny, when I said to the referee after, "Well, why did I get a warning?" He said, "You swore after he punched you in the mouth," which I don't even remember doing, you know, but it was. Anyway, I got banned for a year, and a lot of the guys, my students said, "Oh, this is not right. It's wrong." And so I went on holiday in Tunisia. I hope this ain't too boring.
No, it's fine. It's great.
There was a Japanese out there, all on his own. He was an ex-judoka, and I just started talking to him. And he started telling me the ways of Japan and how you shouldn't keep crossing over. And I said, I'm thinking of opening my own club. He said, when I get back to London, I'll look up in a book of all different names. And he come up with all these different names. I went to dinner with him up London. And one of them, he went Ishinru. I went, oh, I like that. What's that? Oh, no. What I asked him for, Lee, was I want open mind. But translated, it come out as empty head. So he said, that's not good. But he said, Ishinru, it's all at one heart. And I said, oh, I like that. I said, is there any Ishinru in Japan? So he said, I'll find out. Anyway, come back to me, said, no, there's not. So we started, but what I didn't realise was there was Ishinru in Okinawa.
Oh, right.
He didn't know about that. And then I had to go to dinner with a lot of the Japanese, Mr Enoeda, Mr. I can't remember. He was the head of Ruko at that time, Sasagawa. And I sat next to Mr. Kimura. And he said to me, Tick, I hear you make new style. I just said, no, Sensei, it's just a name for my club. He went, no. He said, make style, make it good. Get serious. And I thought, well, if you can say that to me, I can do it.
Yeah.
So, but it was just one club. And then Peter Dennis went to Basildon. He said, can I call it Basildon Ishinru? I went, yeah, it's all right. Then Will Werner went to East Ham. He called it East Ham Ishinru. Tyron went to Plasto, called it Plasto Ishinru. And that's how it started to expand to a style. Yeah.
Can I just ask you, so with forming your own style, did you sort of, like with the patterns or katas, did you change any of the formations to sort of make your own style or what?
Yeah, I picked the more finesse from Wado Ryu and Shotokan, more from Shotokan than anything, into the Kyokushinkai pin hands. So they were Kyokushinkai, but a little bit different.
Yeah. And
then advanced katas, we was doing Wado Ryu, Shotokan, and Shitoryu.
Yeah.
I learned some Shitoryu, and that was good. And then, lucky enough, Ishinru done really good in katas.
Obviously, Ishinru is recognised for all the fighters winning all the world championships, but you also had a lot of kata champions as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Ellen Ray was 16 times British champion, and I think Stevie Quinn was 14 times English champion. And then it went on from there. You know, Jonathan Mottram was, 16 times England champion. We done well in kata. We done well in team kata. Because everyone used to talk about, Ishinru just for fighting, but it wasn't. It was a very basic club. You know, my roots were basics. Then it grew from there. You know, I used to come back from going abroad and we'd go up the pub after, as you do, and Tyron and Will and Peter and Dougie, they'd all be around me. Oh, what happened? What happened here? And what happened there? So I'm telling them all the stories. So it was just bled into them, you know. Oh, I want to do that. Yeah. Where someone in another club might have been as good, but they didn't get that motivation of being told all the stories.
To sort of inspire them, sort of push them on a little bit. Yeah.
And I think one of the pictures you showed in the warm-up was Tyron White, Peter Dennis, Vic Charles and myself, and there was Roy Jerome. Out of a 10-man team that went to Japan, 5 of them were from our club.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Which was a big honour for me. It was really good.
Yeah, it's a good achievement, isn't it? Having your own students up there with you.
Yeah, fabulous. Really proud.
Ticky, how did you find, how was the pressure of actually coaching the England and Great Britain team So what sort of pressure did that have onto you for everyone to perform?
At times it did. But as I said, I was very gifted because I had a strong squad of my own students that were very loyal, and they believed in me. And as people joined the squad, I didn't try and change them. I didn't say, like, you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. I tried to develop them as a person of what they were best at. And it sort of, they got confidence in me, you know, and I got confidence in them. And I wouldn't tell them to try and do so. I wouldn't tell a kicker to start punching or a puncher to start kicking all the time. I try and add it in, but not change them. You know, try and develop them for what they were good at.
Keep their strong, good techniques and just add to it.
Add to it, yeah. Get them more confident. And it just paid off. You know, it was people walking into a winning team, Lee. So they had to rise to the occasion. And I think if I didn't have a winning team, it wouldn't have happened. But we did have a winning team. And what's funny, in 82, the team that fought out of 7 men, in 84, there was 2 different in the team to the year before. And then in 86, again, there was another 2 different. So the team was changing, but as people joined the team, they were just rising to the occasion.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had some great banter with the Scots trying to outdo the English, and the English outdo the Scots. But they got on great. You know, we really got on great as a squad.
Ticky, there've always been stories around that sort of you always got the best out of people. They always thought that when you're in their corner, they had to fight the best, and they did perform the best. So how did that sort of mindset come in?
Well, I think what I've always said is, in 76, I had my best year ever in competition. I don't know. I did used to know what it was. Out of 46 fights in that year, I think I lost about 2 and got disqualified 1.
Wow.
And then I said, right, 77, this is going to be my year. It was World Championship year. And then in February, we fought France, and I clashed legs with Montemer, and I ripped the ligaments in my knee. So, yeah, I went, I saw the surgeon. He said, look, you need ligaments done. I said, but I want to fight in Japan in June or July, I think it was, in the World Championships. He said, well, I'm going to take your cartilage out and give you a run for your money. He said, and see what happens. So I did do that. I'll never forget, I went to see him, and he took the plaster off, and he had a load of students sitting in his office. He went, right, this man, he said, he represents Great Britain for karate. He said he wants to fight in World Championships in Japan. He said, give us your crutches. I went, what? I just took my plaster off. I need my crutches. He went, no, give me them. He said, go on, away you go. Get out. And I remember walking out of his room, and I had to hold on the wall to walk along. People were saying to me, Carl, you look worse when you went in. But that was it. I trained for it. I done the best I could. And then it was between Alex McGregor and Roy Stanhope were the coaches. And they said, right, we're going to pick 10 people. And I thought, well, I can get in this 10. You know, but I weren't thinking of fighting. I just wanted to get in the 10. Anyway, I got in the 10 people, and then Alec McGregor went, right, and Ticky, you're captain of the team. And I went, oh, I thought I was going to get a free ride.
And put the pressure straight on you.
It did. So there, I remember I used to go running, and I used to be crying with pain when I was running. But we went there and fought. It was stupid. We lost to Germany, who we had annihilated 2 weeks before. But there was problems with arguments with manager and who was going in and who was going out in the team. But anyway, we lost that. But Eugene Codrin done well. He got a silver medal in the individuals. And then Roy Stanhope was the coach. And I've got to say, when he was a coach for me, I had the best time. He sort of just let me go, let me do what I wanted. And I said, Roy, I want to fight in the Europeans. And he said, Ticky, look, let me tell you this. He said, I'm going to give up. I've had enough. I've got other things I want to do. He said, you're my assistant at the moment. He said, you're stepping into the job. He said, but if you go and fight the Europeans, they're going to slip someone else in and you've lost your slot. And I will always thank him for that. But I never felt like I'd finished, Lee.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I was coaching, I wanted to be the person in the...
Still to be out there, yeah.
And I could get them to do what I wanted to do. I couldn't do it, but I could get them to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that was the main thing. You know, I still wanted to be out there fighting.
Yeah. How did you find that, though, when you're actually watching your team fight? You're probably more nervous than the actual fighters, aren't you?
People don't realise. Now, I talk to some of my old squad and they're all coaches, you know, and they go, oh, now I know what you went through. I can remember, we used, especially the Europeans on the Worlds, the first lineup for the first team fight, I had butterflies like you would never believe, you know. And I don't know how many times I've prayed to God, just let us win this one. Just let us win.
Is that something that sort of, as time went on and you sort of, your team was winning all the time, did sort of your nerves settle down? Like you have more confidence that you...
No,
you stayed there all the time,
never really. I mean, I did get more confident, I've got to say that, but always on that first team fight, my stomach used to go like you wouldn't believe. I'd be shaking all over.
Wow. Yeah, because people never really hear about the side of the coach, do they? They hear about the fighters, but they never really know what goes on for the coach.
What they do now, because they've all come of age, you know. I was talking to some of them and they went, didn't realise you went through that, you know. Yeah. Sleepless nights before the match and the day of making the lineup. Sometimes you've got to, I don't want it to sound wrong, but sometimes you've got to feed someone to one of their best fighters, you know, because you know you're going to lose that one and try and make up on the others. So yeah, there was a lot of quite a bit of banter sometimes when if someone played up a little bit, right, you're out number one.
How did you also like? How was the pressure for like actually selecting the team? So doing the selections. If you had like a close match up and you sort of, what way should we go?
Yeah, it was a lot because in the categories, all of a sudden they cut it from 2 to 1. Now it got really hard, you know, especially in the like under 70s and under 75s and well, even the heavyweights. I was blessed to have such a strong team, but some people used to say sometimes the fight-offs were older than the European Championships. Because, you know, you'd have Greg Francis, Wayne Otto, Augustus Paul, Willie Thomas, all in the same pool.
Yeah.
And I've got to pick one of them, you know. And then you've got Ian Cole, Vic Charles, Jeff Thompson, Jerome Atkinson, all in a heavyweight pool. So... yeah, it was hard at times.
Was your selections picked on them actually winning, or sometimes was it, you know, because people have good days, bad days, don't they?
Yeah, well, they're back. What do you call it? Oh God, you know, their track record. I used to keep a track record of everyone, and a lot of that come into it. I mean, someone could have a bad day and you think, no, I've got his track record here. I've seen what he done. And
yeah,
so I use that a lot. But you never knew how people thought about you. And it's like one time going back about 10 years ago, I was in a restaurant and I could hear this voice. And I thought, I know that voice. I went and I just said, Joe Tierney. And he jumped up and turned around. He's with these other 3 guys. He went, Ticky, my mentor. And I thought, oh, it got to me, Lee, because when people leave, you don't really know what they thought about you.
Yeah.
You know, whether they was nice to you because you was the manager and everything. And yeah, but it was really nice the way he come back. And then just before Mervyn died, God bless his soul, he sent me some lovely messages, you know, and you just think, oh, I never knew you felt that way, Merv, you know.
So, Ticky, I'm just going to touch on, obviously everyone knows you're sort of famous for your summer course, summer camps. How did that start off?
It started off, well, I went to talk with John Smith in Hull, and I took a lot of students down there. And I remember we drove about 12 hours to get back home after. And a couple of my students said, well, why can't we do one up here? So I spoke with Peter Spanton and he went, yeah, come on, we do one at Clacton. So we done one in the back of a church, a garden behind a church hall in Clacton. And it went all right. It wasn't the best course. And then one of my students said, oh, Ifields are interested in taking your summer camp on. So I went down to see him and they took it on and we had like 300 people turn up.
Wow.
And it was really good. And we was there for 3 years. Then that went, they said, oh, we've got new owners. We can't cater for you anymore. And then Helen Ray, she was one of my black belts, you know, at the time, and she was doing a dance routine. She went to drama school, and she said, I found a camp that's asked us to do a show there. And I said, would you take the karate course on? Excuse me. And they said yes. So we went there, and I think that was the biggest one ever. We had 350 people, the first one. And then the next year, Ifields asked us to come back, but we said no. And then it went on from there. Every year, it got better.
People from all over the world used to attend there, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Finland, Switzerland, New Zealand, Canada, Australia.
I think that also the summer course also brought out the fun side of karate, didn't it? Not just the training, but all the, you know, all the banter together and made it a big fun package.
Yeah, we used to do the fun run and the fancy dress night. And it's funny now when I see people writing on Facebook, you know, to each other and they're going, oh, they were the best days of our lives, you know, doing the summer course. And it was great. It was great. I mean, I cut the course down to a weekend course in the end because people couldn't get the time off of work. Yeah. And a lot of people said, oh, no, let's go back to the week. And I said, you wouldn't get people. People are not the same now. I mean, people train hard, but they don't train like we used to. I mean, we was crazy. We was lunatics, really, when I think about it. It's just mad.
So Ticky, can I run through with us your obviously got an OBE from the Queen. Can you just run us through that, please? Yeah,
I got the OBE, say for 1990. It was great. I took my mum, who's always been a royalist. She loved every minute of it. And Patrick's mum, Kim, I was with then, and we went to. It's funny, we went there, Len. You go in a room first, and the guy tells you, you know, you're going to go in line, and as you come out, you're going to see the Queen, and you bow to her, and then she may talk to you, she may not, but she pin the medal on you. But once she shakes your hand, that's your cue to go. And what you do is stand one step back, bow, and turn and walk away. So I'm standing there watching all these blokes practicing how to bow. You know, and I'm laughing because you know what we're like in karate. You bow when you go in the dojo, out the dojo, do your sensei there. And then we came out and really nervous. It's like being back at school. But you can't, as you come out, you can see the Queen there, which you don't realize. And then you walk along and one of the soldiers will go, just stand there, boy. And then you go, right, away you go. So you walk up to the next soldier, he goes, hold on, away you go. And then I got to the Queen and she started speaking to me. And she said, we're doing awfully well, aren't we? I said, yeah, we just come back from Mexico. We've won again. She said, yes, I know. And she's got someone who's primed her up on everything, but she was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then she shook my hand. Well, it was so strong. I was just shocked, you know, because she's a small lady.
Yeah.
And I've got it on video. I turned to walk away. I forgot to bow. And I've sort of jumped round and bowed and then walked off. And I thought, it's me laughing at all them blokes practicing how to bow. And I forgot and nearly walked off.
So that was that actually at Buckingham Palace, Tiggy?
It was at Buckingham Palace, yeah, but there's no tea and cakes or nothing like that. You just, you know, you go in this big room, and there was Harry Carpenter was there. He got an award at the same time. A couple of other people, I can't remember now, but it was a great feeling, absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
And Doug James at V&A come and film it. Yeah. You know, so he's filming it. I mean, for the karate world, but you've got all these people at the railings going, oh, can we have your autograph? They didn't have a clue who I was. But just because someone's filming you.
Tiki, I'm going to ask you the old random question. Have you ever had to use your karate, your martial arts in a real life situation?
Let me say, when I started work, I got a job on the Evening Standard. My first week's wages were £3.29. And then after training in boxing and karate, I got offered door work, which is £4 a night, which was, well, it's a week's wages.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes you did get involved.
You have to in that job, don't you? It's no sort of no getting out of it.
No, you know, sometimes, and I work with some big guys, and they always used to say, "I have him, the smaller one," because they were all about 6'2". But it had to be used, and you know, I'd like to think it helps me a lot.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing, what people don't understand, is with karate, you can control the fight. Well, you can get a street fighter who gets a lucky punch in, and he will do more damage because he will keep hitting them, if you know what I mean, thinking like in case they get up again. But with karate, I think you had that confidence to give them a clump, and then if they come back at you again, you could handle the situation again. Yeah.
I think karate also gives you so much confidence that in a situation you sort of, sometimes people don't want to approach you, do they? Because they can sense the presence of your confidence.
Oh, Lee, I heard stories of things I was supposed to have done today. I heard you took two people out with one finger, and you think, oh, my God. I know Peter Dennis told you the story about the train.
Yeah, we did hear that one.
Train to Manchester, you know, that was a funny one.
Yeah, that was funny.
So lucky enough, I didn't have that many fights, you know, but there did come a few times where it happened.
Okay, what sort of where did you go with your grading? So what sort of style did you get up to with what grade? And obviously now you're 10th dan.
Yeah. You know what that means, Lee, don't you?
Go on.
You got old. I remember a student saying to me once, Sensei, what you got to do to get 8th dan? I said, get 8 years older. But no, I first graded in Wado Ryu, And then in Kyokushinkai with Mr. Oyama. Then it sort of become associations graded you. And no, the WKF graded me twice. You know,
Yeah.
So I think David Mitchell put me up for 7th Dan, which was a bit too early, I remember. But they just called me out onto the floor at the World Championships, and there's no way I could have said no, thank you. I just said this, but then I had to do me time longer to you make the catch up.
So where does that like with obviously your grading sort of when you've made your issue move your own style? How did sort of the syllabus come together? Was that just combined by different moves from different styles, or did you actually put in your own, like create your own stuff as well?
No, we put in combinations, carters from different styles. You know, we sat down and made a syllabus, and then after a couple of years talking to the instructors, we changed it. And then now, where you've got so many young kids coming in at such a young age, they've changed it again. So it's, you make it like easier gradings for children instead of the. I mean, when I first started in Wado Ryu, there was only white, green, brown, and black belt. That was the only.
Oh wow! Was that like all combined into shorter sort of time spans though? So like obviously the same sort of syllabus, but just combined it into them 4 grades.
Yeah, well, you'd have 2 white belts, and then you'd have like 2 green belts, and then about 3 brown belts, and then black belt.
Yeah. So that probably made the gradings harder though, didn't it? It was probably a lot more to learn between each grade.
No, not really. But then I think the belt system come in, which was more of a money-making scheme as far as I was concerned.
Yeah.
You know, because you had a grading, partial grading, but you had the same belt. Then all of a sudden it was like red, yellow, orange, green, blue, brown, black. You know, I think it was. That's my outlook. I think it was a money spinner.
Yeah. Just another random question, Ticky. If you hadn't gone down the path of the karate, was there anything sort of as a kid you dreamed of wanting to be in life?
I probably would have been in prison, Lee. I probably would have been a gangster or something, you know. When I was a kid in the East End, you was in awe of the Cray twins, and you know, you used to see them with their beautiful suits on and things like that. So, and a few of my mates did go on holiday. They'd done a few years for being silly. So I can honestly say karate give me a straight and narrow life.
Yeah, get you off of that walk of life.
Yeah, definitely.
What's been your favourite moment in karate, Ticky? I know there's probably been loads of great memories, but what sort of one stands out in your mind?
All the World Championship team events. You know, the winning of them. I couldn't say one was better than the other. It was they were just all phenomenal. And whether it was the men or the women, the feeling and the congratulations you get from the other coaches and things like that was, you know, was a great feeling. So
yeah,
I'd have to put it down to them.
Was there any ever sort of team rivals like in another country, sort of ones that you've clashed with before that were like?
Yeah, you know, as I say, people said, "Oh, it must be great to have a team like that." But sometimes when you've got a team of world champions and they get tired, sometimes they don't want to train. Yeah. You know, they go through this thing. Well, I know best. I know my thing. So, but it never comes to anything really big. We always got through it. And then another great moment for me was when Wayne Otto got his OBE.
Yeah.
You know, because he was undoubtedly the best fighter that we ever had. And I think that was another. I'm lucky enough to put my hand on my heart and said I've had some fabulous moments, some really good moments. You know, when you see them up on that rostrum and they're playing the national anthem, it's brilliant.
The ticket years ago, there was you made a national newspaper, a big incident with it said about a samurai sword. Was it something about a party?
Yeah, that was a funny moment. There was a party where I live, and it was crazy. I mean, 1 o'clock in the morning, I had bands playing, and anyway, I went and complained, and by all accounts, the whole of Chigwell complained, and someone threw acid over someone's car. So because I'd gone over and complained, they thought it was me.
Oh, blimey.
So they come knocking on my door. Well, it was about 12 of them. So I've opened my door, and they're just going, "What? Did you throw acid over our cars?" I went, "What are you talking about? Don't be stupid." I said, "Go and phone the police. That's what you should be doing." And then one went, "We're going to burn your house down." I went, "You're going to what?" Another one went to me, walked up to my car. My car was in the drive. He started stroking it. He went, "This was a nice car, wasn't it?" I went, "What do you mean it was a nice? Get away from the car." And as I gone that, he's come round at me, and then boom, it's gone off. You know, there was a car. I was on formally that night. I tell you this. They were coming from all angles. And, anyway, they all went off. And I come in, sat down, and thought, "God, dear, what was all that about?" Then all of a sudden, they're kicking me front door. I've looked out. My neighbours come over to talk to them, and they've got him over the car, bent him over the car backwards. And there was about 100 of them. So I've grabbed a sword out of the cupboard, which I had, and just opened the front door, and I just went, "Yeah," like that. And as I did, the police car pulled up.
Oh, no.
I'm standing on my front door like that. But they were on my side.
Yeah, it's like self-defense, isn't it? They're on your own property.
Yeah. They said, "We've had so many phone calls and complaints about this." And then all of a sudden, a chief of police or some hierarchy turned up, and they were getting into him. And then someone said he hit me with a sword. So he walked up to me and said, "You have a sword?" Did he have a sword? They went, "Yeah." They were taking a statement off me in my living room. He went, "Right, nick him." And the cop I was talking to went, "No, just a minute." He went, "No, nick him. So I got taken away.
Bloody hell.
And then he went up to the fella. He said, "This is the copper," and he told me this. "Where did he hit you with a sword?" He said, "Look, he knocked me tooth out." He said, "What? With a sword?" He went, "No, no."
He took his face off. He just knocked his tooth out.
He didn't hit me with a sword, but he threatened me with the sword. So that was it. It went to court, and that was a horrible week, horrible. But I had a fabulous brief. He was so clever. And they said 6 of them come over to my house, and 13 of them went witnesses. So he said, "You're the 13th of the 6 that come over," and he ripped them to pieces. They just lied, and they were stupid.
Crazy,
and the jailer, I was in with the jailer, and he's going to me, "You should be out there, and all them should be in here."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it went on for a week, and then I had a couple of the jurors used to come in and wink at me as they walked in. He said, my brief said, "I think they're going to sling this out." I said, "Well, why didn't they sling him out?" He said, "They're enjoying the stories." And, then we went on the Monday, and this was a time when I'd been put up for the OBE.
Oh, blimey.
So, yeah. So I gave it to my solicitor, and he said, "Well, this doesn't say you've got the OBE." He said, "You've been nominated." So he said, "I can't help you." But when he slung it out, the judge went, he said, "You leave this court without any slur on your name whatsoever." And the jailer said to me, "That's unusual for a judge to say that." But that was what it's all about, going for the OBE.
Oh, wow.
But he got slung out in the end. And then, funny enough, the only newspaper we weren't in was the Daily Mail, which was the newspaper I had. And Eugene Codrington phoned me up next day, said, "Can I speak to Superman, please?" He had all these other newspapers. I was Superman, Batman, or had all the stories.
Yeah, I remember it from when I was a kid. I remember seeing it.
Oh, but it was a worrying time. It was worrying because they were trying to say one guy got a broken jaw, and they said, we're going to prove to, I think it was 2 ABHs and a grievous bodily harm, which would have got me 6 to 18 months in prison. You know, so.
Yeah, it's crazy, really, though, when you think about it, isn't it? How they can even stand up when they're coming onto your property.
Right, they was on my drive.
Exactly.
All the stories about an Englishman's home is his castle. They was actually on my drive. Yeah. And but the chief of police that come, he was just too weak. They were screaming and hollering and thing. And then when I found out, when they found out I done karate, they said I was doing this, I was doing that, I was doing all sorts of things.
Elaborated on it.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you, have you ever had sort of injuries through karate?
Oh, mate. Well, when I done my knee, I'd say they let me off with the cartilage. Then after I had to have the ligaments done, it was so bad. So I had the ligaments done. I had a knee operation on the other one. I've had a new knee now on that actual knee. I had a new hip. I had a snapped Achilles. My body was never made to do karate. I'll tell you that. I ripped every muscle in my body, I think.
Was that all from wear and tear from the training?
Wear and tear, trying to stretch more than, you know, like the Japanese, I can remember, used to be doing the splits and we get about that. They'd come behind you, put their feet inside you and keep going out, you know. And I wanted to do this. I've never been able to do the side splits. I do the long splits, but I could never do the side splits. But I wouldn't change it for the world, mate. I loved it. Loved every minute of it.
Every martial art podcast we've done with people so far, they've always mentioned your name in every one.
Oh, it's nice. It's nice to know. That's nice. We've got this next year in June. I'm coming back from my summer camp, but also Molly Samuels is arranging a night of awards, you know, which is going to be special. And all this came about after Mervyn died, bless his soul. How so many people all come together again, and they calling it the golden years, you know, all them fighters that was in that. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it'd be good to catch up with everyone and see everyone, wouldn't it?
Fabulous. It'd be really good. And I had some really nice messages from the Tony twins, Trisha Duggan, Molly, Wayne Otto after Mervyn's passed away. It was really nice for me. Really pleased.
Ticky, we're starting to wind it up there. Is there anything else you want to get out there or anything you want to advertise?
No, just I'm glad I've stamped me mark in me life. So I'm pleased with the outcome, Lee. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you ever so much for coming on, Ticky. Is there anywhere people can follow you or get in touch with you if they need to?
I'm on Facebook, Messenger. I get muddled up with all the other WhatsApps and lines and things, so people can get in touch with me on them, definitely.
Lovely. Thank you ever so much for coming on today, Ticky. It's much appreciated.
Thanks, Lee, and I really appreciate that that beginning. That what you put all that together, that was fabulous. A great souvenir for me. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
Bye-bye, mate.
Bye.